Welcome back to Simply Sincee. I am Dr. Sincee Callahan, metaphysician and chancellor of ELU, and my co-hosts today and every day, is Sharon Stinzo and Judith Salino. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Sincee. Thank you.
In our last segment, we were talking about, the last couple of segments, we started talking about being in a box. And then this last segment we were trying to help people to understand the importance of life and being original thinkers and being free and some technique to get to that. You know, we left off talking about parenting and, how to realize that the job of parenting is probably one of the jobs that we don't respect as much as we should, but should be the most respected job, because when you grow up in life and you start criticizing people and you have children, you must realize that I have to bring these kids up in a way that I won't make other people so critical of them. And, we were talking about how in that first stage of development, you teach all these great principles. You can do that in that first stage and get it, catch it up in the second and keep moving. There are folks that can get that just right. But there are those who maybe give their baby all the love and nurture, and then there's a divorce and the kids are split, and then you have one parent with one set of principles and another one with the other, and then the kids are moved on. There's all sorts of things that happen along the way. So if you're one of those people who had the nurture step by step by step, kudos, you picked good in this lifetime. But there's no bad pickings, because every soul has a journey and a responsibility. And honestly, you don't have a parent that you didn't agree to have before you got here. It's an agreement that we make as soul. So soul travels in, and we are soul in a physical body. We are not a physical body with a soul, which is why you can't be possessed and you can't flip and come back in the wrong way, and you can't do all these things that people say. I mean, I've met so many people, and people want to fight me all the time, but soul comes in deliberately, chooses the body perfectly, whatever size, shape, color it is, for its personal experience. The physical body is one of the layers of one of the bodies of soul. As soul travels in, it comes in etherically. We have people say, oh, you're covered with sheets and this and that. It comes in etherically. It comes from a journey. But we'll start with this layer. It flows into that etheric layer, because it needs to get covered, because it gets a little uncomfortable the closer down you get to this place where you're challenged the most. So it comes in etherically, and then that etheric layer and soul flows into the mental, and then it flows into the causal layer, which we want to talk a little bit about today, and then into the emotional layer, and then now I'm in my physical layer, which is why when you dream, sometimes people say, I'm trying to get up and I can't wake up. It's because soul, when you sleep, it has an agreement that when the body wakes up, it needs to be fully present. So when we sleep, soul travels. And when soul is traveling and something is out there trying to make you wake up, soul's not going to allow you to wake up until it's fully back in. And that's why you might be fussing and fighting. And I know all these dream therapists and all these professionals and all these people who are getting grants to study dreams and all that are going to be like, oh, she doesn't know. I don't care. The truth is, as I know it and I've experienced it, is the missing link in so much of life. We don't recognize that we're a soul in a physical body. And soul has a responsibility and an obligation to be fully present in each layer that it needs to be in at whatever time it's needed. And I'm not going to get into talking about guardians and all that stuff. That could be another show. But what we want to talk about today is the importance of being responsible, the importance of identifying yourself, and being truthful. And we want to talk about the people who didn't have all the developmental skills, where you are in life today. Today is the very moment that you can take a step and keep moving forward without looking back attaching yourself to something you can't do anything about but daydream. You can't even dream about it in your sleep state. It's a waking state where you're daydreaming about something that will never change. You can't go back in time. There's no real time machines. There's none of that stuff. Never going to happen anywhere in time. It's all going to be a mental illusion if it ever appears to be. And the truth is that you're in this moment, you have an opportunity to recognize, I'm alive. I have life. I've been given the gift of living. Let me find a way to enjoy it from this moment on. Let me find a way. If I have responsibility for children, I didn't know that stuff. Don't be an egghead, one that's boiled, and say, I know everything. I don't want to know. I read this. I YouTube that. I did this. Come on. Just look at life around you, especially in the children that you are responsible for. Take a breath and say, I got this. Because you do. You really do. It doesn't matter what your situation is, where you live. People come up with every excuse. I live in a bad neighborhood. I don't have a job. Get a job. Move. It's just that simple, right? Mm-hmm. Stop it. It's one of the little Roman jokes that we tell, and I'll let Sharon explain it to you a little bit more.
I don't know.
But, we have this thing about just stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop it. And with that, I'm going to slide it on over to Sharon,
Yeah.
and then we'll just move forward.
And I think one of the things too, like with this information that we have, for me, and I know Sincee and Judy and I've had this conversation, we're here to just share the information. It's really just sharing our life experiences, because when you hear Judy say something, she'll say, that's my experience. This is what I know for sure. Sincee, this is what I know for sure. For me, I'm always going to say that. It's what I know for sure based on my experience. So even with, parenting, if you have parenting and I remember going through the process of me, solidly getting my principles, just learning, not even learning, but discovering original Sharon. Who is original Sharon? Who really am I? And confronting that and then saying, wow, this would have been great having this info at 20-something. But then also in the same breath, I'm going to understand that I didn't have that. I'm not going to look to anybody else or anything else for, being a victim, wanting sympathy, wanting pats on the back or any of that. I'm just going to get my job done now with the information that I have. I have solid principles. I know who I am. I know what I have to do. And that's really the simple part of it. Would I have liked to have had this discovery of myself and my principles back when I was in my 30s, when I had my child? Oh my God, of course. This is why I can say with certainty when a young woman or man or couple comes, if they even allow me to share my thoughts on it, because I'm not going to infringe on them, I will say this is how I would do it. And this is how I would start. I would start with, who the heck are you? And what are your principles? It's really the only way to begin. And then to understand, like Sincee said, with, that family circle, I think we brought up family circle, what that responsibility is as a guardian with a child, whatever that child is to you, whether they're your auntie, uncle, whatever that is, even sometimes your close auntie without being a blood relative, you're that close to a family that they've, want you to be part of their life. So I think just understanding the responsibility and then not getting stuck is, because how can I possibly help even my own child and his wife now, or folks that come to me to seek, coaching and guidance? How can I help them if I'm stuck in my past, in my causal layer? And that's where I'm going to, Sincee briefly went into the causal layer of where everything is stored, everything I know, everything of this soul, I am soul. So everything is stored there. if I keep going back and say, I didn't do this as a mom, or I wished I had done this, or I wished, I understood the importance of this, how can I possibly move forward? I'm literally stuck in that causal layer. How can I say, my childhood, it's like, whoa, okay, I've already addressed those things. I can beautifully say I can move forward because my principles are solid. If I'm going to stay stuck in my causal layer, I'm violating my own principle. So for me, it's unacceptable. And it's a very simple thing to do. You just make a decision and you stop doing it. Whatever it is, stop being a victim, stop feeling sorry for yourself, stop saying here's what I think we talked off camera. Sharon, you don't understand what I'm going through. And I'm like, okay. Tell me what that means. What does that mean? What does I don't understand? You don't want to hear what I have to say. You don't think there's value to it, or you just don't want to deal with it. At least say that. I prefer when people are more truthful, because I do understand. I can see things in a way. For me, I don't have all those attachments anymore, so I can see them more clearly. It doesn't mean I know what they should do or not do, but if you're coming to me, then I'm going to just be honest with you. And I don't think I've ever said that to you, that you didn't understand.
Yeah.
So when I'm coming to somebody to talk to someone for assistance and guidance, I am never going to say that to them. I find it very disrespectful. Yeah, I do. So for me, even being principled with, those things, it doesn't mean you come out of the box that way. But from this day forward, if you decide, hey, I want to know who I am, I want to have some principles, you just deal with that now. You just say, I'm going to enjoy life. It's the only thing that has helped me truly enjoy my life. I'm going to say that 100%. Nobody told me to say that. Nobody told me that's how it should be or shouldn't be. In my experience, knowing my principles and knowing who I am, this is literally the only way that I've been able to just enjoy life, no matter whatever circumstances are thrown my way, whatever I'm going through, I mean, I really think that's the truth.
Hi, I'm Dave Stenzel. Are you tired of the chaos in this world? Are you frustrated by people telling you what to think and what to believe? Here at ELU, we teach you how to be an original thinker with a full line of classes that help you discover the truth about who you are and develop principles to determine your life's journey and discover the truth in life. To get rid of all the chaos and messages that people are throwing at you, to discover your true self as soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's once you establish who you are,
Yep.
once you have those principles and you know who you are, then your true character, the reason so came, you have an opportunity to experience life that way. So often people come and say, I don't know what my purpose is. I think it's this magic, that, whatever they come up with. But the truth is you can't ever know what your principles are, what your purpose is, if you haven't confronted the truth about you.
Yeah.
Once you understand that character, once that character has been developed, I should say, no matter what you do, whatever role you play in life, whatever situation you find yourself in life, you're going to be good at it because you're finally being the truth, truthful self. And the truth doesn't mean everybody's going to be great and lovely. The truth about some people is that they're chaotic. And if they can address and say, look, I'm chaotic. I know people who will come and they'll say, listen, I'm a chaotic person. I'm bringing chaos. If you want chaos, you got it.
I
I love
appreciate that.
misery. I'm bringing misery.
appreciate
you
that, though.
Yeah. But,
appreciate that.
or whatever you are,
Yeah.
it is just who you are. Every soul has a purpose. And there are so many souls that come in to be chaotic, to get us to be able to be the best light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Like, I love that little song. But, to get that light shining and to be able to experience what it is you're here for. Your purpose is not what somebody else
Yep.
says you should do. It's what you know. We know for sure who we are when we define our principles. No, you don't have to ask anybody anything anymore. Somebody will tell you something and you'll be able to say, I don't agree with that, but that's fine. I don't believe that, or I know for sure. For me, I don't believe is something that I just don't get, I don't hope. I don't want to believe it. I don't want to have faith about it. I just need to know it.
Yeah.
I need to know it for sure. What I know about hoping for something is it never ends. What I know about faith is it keeps going. I got faith every day. When you going to get faith and keep it and move forward? You need to let faith go for a minute and just get the job done. And not, get back to just stop all that other stuff. Stop it. Just stop it. And, realize this is my life. I am so in a physical body. Wow. Look at me. I can shine if I want to, and I don't have to if I don't. But I need to know who I am in order to even make that call. And once you do that, you don't get caught up in all these traps that are being set. We live in a world that soul comes in, and it's going to be challenged to be the best that it could be. Can you meet the challenge? That's the question. You cannot if you don't know who you are.
And you will be stuck in your causal.
Absolutely.
You will be.
Yeah.
And people who say that, you don't understand what I've been through or what I'm going through are very much stuck in their causal. And it isn't that you don't understand. That's them crying out, I don't understand. But because they don't know who they are, they don't realize they're the ones that don't understand.
That's very well said. I like that.
And that's what I think we need to help people see is that, because I was one of those people. I was so stuck in, I grew up in a family of causal. Everything we did was about remember when. I have an older brother who still does that. He loves going back and remembering when, lives from the past. And to have been that way for so many years, and then to recognize, that I'm stuck in my causal. So when people say to me, you don't understand, well, help me understand. And then, you take that in another direction and let them figure it out for themselves that they're stuck in their causal layer. But some people are more stubborn than others or have a more difficult time based on their experiences or who they
Or the
don't.
boxes that
the
they
boxes that, I mean.
They like the box.
They like the box.
And that's
They're not,
fine.
that's
That's
fine.
cool. I like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
But you need to understand how
that.
to explain the truth
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah.
And that's what most people don't. Pardon me, I don't have a problem telling somebody, I don't like it, I'm not dealing with it, I don't want to. I have people say, well, Sincee, that's not fair, you should. I'm like, who do you think you are to tell me what I need for my life to be fair? What I hear when a person does that is, I want you to be unhappy so I can be happy. And then I go all the way back to those developmental stages, and I'm thinking pre-kindergarten, oh boy, you didn't get to play on the playground. Or maybe go back a little bit more where you were having a temper tantrum and everybody kept picking you up. Instead of just letting you figure it out on the floor, making sure the area is safe, and it's like, go ahead, it's fine. You can be upset. But once you're done, you got to come back together and let it all work out. So it's interesting that that's what we have in our lives, is that when people don't know who they are, and then they try to convince you that you need to be who they don't know who they are.
Oh, that's
deep.
That I just got really, really tied up in that. Yeah, I like that. I love that, Judy. That's just a great statement. And with that, I think, you know, the best part of that, literally the best part of that is when someone says, or here, I'm going to go to this. When the best part of that for me was when I was able to say, "Ooh, I'm just being a victim with this,"
Oh, yes.
you know, or I'm being a bully, I'm being abusive with this, you know, and I think that's the best part. The
It's
best
freeing.
part is just to be. I really get really excited for someone when they say, "I like being a victim. I just like it. I love it," because that's the most truthful thing they may have ever said. And they're just
Because there are
attaching.
people that like people that
Yeah.
want to be a victim. They
Yeah.
want to.
I mean, I think
thing.
that the best thing, or I'm just a selfish person or lazy person, or like for me, I get excited that, or I'm just, like you said, I'm just chaotic. I like when someone is just truthful about who they are. That's what, well, I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say this because
Say it.
the mafia. I always say I respect them in some way.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I respect, like, you know who they are. They say they're criminal. Okay, well, you know what? You're doing your thing. I don't want to be buddies with them or whatever, but you kind of know what they're about, what their organization is. They're not pretending to be something they're not. So, you know, I have a level of, like, I don't know, like,
They know who they are.
they know who they are.
There's no
I mean,
guesswork.
I
They know
talk
their
about
purpose.
that and I go, oh boy, should I say that? But I know it's a weird thing to say, but it's really true. So I just say to people, if I'm talking to them, you know, I might say like something like, do you feel like it sounds like, you know, that you're tied into this victim?
Yeah,
Do you like it?
absolutely.
I mean, like, that's just a simple question. What do you like about it? You know, if you don't like it, then to do something about it, like Sincee said, or he said, just stop it.
Yeah.
You literally
you want
can
to be
stop
truthful. You know, you've
Yeah.
got so many people going around pretending there's something or someone that there aren't.
Right.
You know, and when you were talking, I was thinking about this old act by Phyllis Diller, honestly. A lot of people don't even know who Phyllis Diller is. But she was a really great comic, funny as funny could be. And she did this skit, and I'm not going to say it just right, but she went out on a date with this guy, and he thought she was beautiful. And then at the end of the date, they decided to go and get together and, you know, go to a hotel room. And she said, wait a minute, let me take my hair off. She took her hair off, and then she took her eyelashes off, and then she took her false things in her cheek off, and then she took her one of her legs off. And
Oh my God.
and I was just thinking that this is what people, you're not real.
Yeah.
If you've got to do all this stuff to entice someone into your false world. And then when they get there, and they see, this is the other thing with men and women, we got to do a segment like that. But, you know, a man is more physical when it comes to relationships. Women are more emotional when it comes. So if a woman dresses herself all up with her poofed up wig hair and false eyelashes and big hips and a butt and a fake butt and whatever else she's got that's
Silicone
not
boobs.
real. And the guy's like, ooh, look at that mama. And he's in love with that woman that he sees like, this is what I like. And I'm thinking of Phyllis Diller again. And then they date a few times, and she puffs herself out again and put her corset on. I can't breathe, and sitting up straight and talking all weird. And then they get together, and some intimacy happens. In our world today, you know, you don't wait till you get married, and you don't try to hide your parents' stuff. And all. It's a new world. Everybody gets it on whenever they feel like it. So you go home, and this guy's like, it's night. The girl's like, keep the lights off, you know. And guys want to see stuff. You know, but guys, they just want to see.
We'll
They
have
get
to get the
excited,
guys in on the
you
next
know,
podcast.
yeah. And so, you know, and I grew up with so many men in my family, so I'm just taking this from the conversations under the door. You know, but you know, these guys get there, and you know, this woman. He wakes up in the morning, and my husband actually told me this, that he went out with a woman that was like a supermodel. And when he woke up that morning with her, he wanted to run. He said, She didn't have her makeup on, and I was scared, literally frightened. And,
that's funny.
so I think that as we get to know who we are and we're truthful with ourselves, we're comfortable with who we are. Soul does not make a mistake. It picks the body type, shape, race, everything perfectly. It does.
Any imperfection,
You
anything.
can't imagine a creator that creates multiple planets, universes, galaxies, and I know somebody's going to say, there's not more than one universe. Well, in my world, there's more. That's all there is to it, But if you have a magnificent energy or force or substance that creates like this, it doesn't make simple mistakes. It's everything's so well thought out. And when it gives life to living things, it gives it for the purpose of the being that it chooses to give it to. And that's what we don't realize. We get caught up in all these boxes of, you've got to say these words and do these things. And, you guys know how I feel. I'm like, people will say, I've got all these affirmations. I'm like, that's because you don't know who you are. Why do you need to affirm your own truth? Either you are or you're not. If you've got to write it on a wall and read it every day, that's not who you are. You either are or you're not. If you want to be wonderful, just be it. Don't put on the wall, I'm wonderful. No, you're not. I'm great. I'm mighty. I'm a warrior. I can't tell you how many times I get that. You are not a warrior. We don't have warriors. But, it's like, who are you really? Be comfortable with the life that you're given and live it. There are situations that we all have along the way, but we've been taught to look at them like horrible things. But the most horrific thing that happens into your life is usually the most glorious thing as you move forward.
Yeah.
Because it gives you all the strength you need to get the job done as soul in a physical body.
Yeah.
We have to be able to see it. I'm going to get in trouble for this. I got in trouble before, a bunch of times for what I'm going to say. But I was invited to a meeting many, 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 many years ago for Alcoholic Anonymous. And the person, I said, are you sure you want me to come? Because you know how I feel about everything. I don't like victims. I don't understand the point of all that. You need to move forward. You only have so much time to live life. So they wanted me to come up and speak. So I went up, and these people were saying, I was an alcoholic for 20 years, and I'm an alcoholic, and I've been sober for 20 years, and I'm sober for... And I said, I met all the people that got up and spoke. The first thing I want you to know is that you're no longer an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. You haven't had a drink. Why do you need someone to stand next to you to make sure you don't? You have to make a decision you've made a decision not to have the drink. Let everything else go. You're living in the causal layer. Somebody's frightened you and told you, and you've created this monster that one day I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to have a drink. I can't resist it. You're not. You haven't. It's been 20 years. My goodness. Right. Yeah. If you start drinking again, you're just becoming whatever is new because you haven't been an alcoholic for 20 years. And I know I got in lots of trouble then, and I'm probably going to get in more now because back then people didn't get in your business the way they do today. Mm-hmm. But, the truth is we get to create our own monsters, and if you decide you don't want to do something, once you make a decision and act on it, that's how you move forward. You don't sit there and say, when I was 5, I was abused like this and this happened. That 5-year-old body doesn't exist 50 years later. Mm-hmm. I have people who sit down and talk about when I was a kid, this happened and that happened. Mm-hmm. And they haven't been a kid for 40, 50 years. Right. What did you do when you were not a kid any longer? How did you rearrange your life? And this is for those of you who are still very young, at whatever age you're at. Stop. Stop it. Right. Stop it. And realize what happened to you whenever it happened many years ago happened then. You don't need to go to a meeting and remind yourself of it weekly and make yourself a victim and victimize everybody else around you who have to live with that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be unhappy and make everybody else unhappy. You want to have a good life. You want to here's what I would say, because I've had situations in my childhood that weren't comfortable. And what I do is like, oh, that was a situation. I'm so glad I grew up. I'm so glad I was able to get to that point. I can't say I was glad for the experience, but I appreciate the experience because when somebody else brings something to me, I can say, that happened so long ago. Why are you reliving that torture? Why are you making yourself unhappy? Nobody, whoever that person was, came to challenge you, and they're still challenging you, and they can't get their lesson until you get your lesson. That's the thing in life, and we do this in our family circles. We're like, oh, I got to give them a little more time. Be direct, be truthful, right away, get the problem over with, so you can have a good barbecue. It's just, you want to get on with life and have a good time with it, and I want the viewers to know that, we are all available, if you want to have more discussion on these matters, and we'll put the information up for you to contact us, and I am a chancellor for ELU, and Judith is a part of that administration, and so is Sharon. Sharon Stenso and Dave Stenso also have counseling sessions. So if you want to get to the bottom of who you are, we've got the person for you. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.